Hello, this is Watch All About with another watch review, and in this review we're looking at the latest offering from Corniche, the Heritage Chronograph, but also we're having a look at the bracelet. So let's quickly have a look at the bracelet. The bracelet is available for €60 or £50 or $67, and it comes in this neat case, and here's the bracelet itself. So this is the stainless steel version, and as you can see we have a polished edge and then brushed sides with the Corniche logo engraved on the end there. So I've got about a 7¼ inch wrist, and as you can see it fits my wrist fairly well. You can adjust it as well by stretching it out or pushing it in to make it smaller or larger. So in terms of design, it's very nice. Can't complain really, and it's very well manufactured as well. So if you're interested, then there you go, that's how it looks. I'll leave it on for the rest of the review. So the watch itself in question, the Heritage Chronograph, comes in this very, very nice outer packaging. Let's start the unboxing process. Certificate of origin, very nice. So there's our reference number, blah, blah, blah. And we have a sort of like a felt top. And here we have the box itself. So lacquered piano wood, very luxurious feeling. And here we have the watch in question. So we have a little Corniche tag. And then if I pull the watch out, I can open it out from the pillow. So yeah, the box is really, really nice. As you can see there, highly polished, nice hardware as well. You can see we got like a stainless steel button, steel hinges as well. Really nicely made. If I just shut it, we also have the user manual at the back of the box here, owner's manual, all very nicely designed. So a pleasant experience. Everything's always really nicely designed with Corniche, I find, and obviously this box is no different. So let's move that out of the way and let's get on with the watch itself. So as I mentioned before, this is the third Corniche I've reviewed, and in every instance I think they've done an even better job in terms of design. Now this is really, really striking. A beautiful, classy chronograph. So let's discuss the specs. First of all, the price. €385 or £320, or about $430 at the moment. So yeah, you may think initially, okay, well that's on the higher side of things for a Mecha Quartz chronograph. It's a Seiko VK64 movement. More about that in a little bit, but we'll go through it and discuss if it is worth the money. So I've got about a 7¼ inch wrist, and I'll just pop it on for the sizes. So size-wise, I personally think is absolutely perfect. 39mm diameter, 11.5mm height, and 48mm lug-to-lug length. So as you can see on the watch, it is really, really striking, and on my wrist in particular, it fits absolutely perfectly. There's quite a lot of 39mm watches going around at the moment, and I personally think it's a really, really nice size because it's bigger than the smaller watches, but a bit more classy looking than a, say, for instance, a 42mm diameter watch. So they certainly are making a bit of a comeback, these slightly smaller diameter cases, and the height is pretty good. I mean, it's helped by the fact that the case isn't just a straight up slab either. We have 3 different sections, and it's nicely sort of rounded at the top and bottom, so that helps it not to wear quite as high as the 11.5mm height suggests. And then the lug-to-lug length, they take quite a dramatic downturn, as you can see. So again, ensures it fits your wrist really nicely. I've got quite a flat wrist, but even if you have quite rounded wrists, it's sure to fit very nicely. 82 grams is the weight, so again, pretty lightweight, easy to wear, very comfortable. I find the deployant clasp rather than a butterfly clasp aids the comfortable wear of the watch as well. 22mm wide lugs, so maybe wider than you'd expect on a 39mm diameter case, but I certainly think it works well. Slightly more of a modern edge there with a slightly wider strap. 1 year warranty, 5 atmospheres or 50 meters water resistance. So you are covered to a measure in terms of water resistance, but I certainly would not go swimming with it. It's not a dive watch. Don't put it underwater. And finally, the movement is the Seiko VK64 movement, which is a mecha quartz. So that means everything is battery powered. However, the chronograph module is mechanical, so it gives us that funky sweep. It's about 5 ticks per second, and also a decent snap back as well on the reset, as you can see there. So I might just leave that running for a little bit. Okay, so one final specific to mention is the dial. Now, it's made of ceramic and it's quite difficult to see, mainly because, first of all, the sapphire crystal has such an amazing anti-reflective coating. As you can see, I mean, it's so crystal clear. But then the reflective aspect of the ceramic dial, really, really eye-catching as well. It makes it look very luxurious because when it works with the polished aspects on the dial, for instance, the hour markers and the hands are all fully polished. Everything works so well. It's really, really eye-catching. So let's discuss the dial to begin with then. Obviously, it has that ceramic base, as we've just mentioned, so that does lend itself to a reflective feedback to the eye, but also it has a slight bit of depth to it as well. As you can see, the subdials are on an ever so slightly lower level. I mean, we'll have a look at it in closer detail with a macro lens on shortly, but you can see they have they are ever so slightly embossed into the dial, and then the applied hour markers, they're almost 3-dimensional, as you can see there. They're batons, fully polished, but then they're pitched in all 4 angles as well. So they create quite a nice array of reflections. As you can see there, as I rotate the watch, they're all reflecting light in different ways, different aspects. And then our hands as well, as you can see, are pitched. Let me just reset that, and then I can adjust the time. So these are lance type hands, which I personally prefer to Dauphine hands, I think. Slightly more elegant. And the seconds, the chronograph seconds hand as well is just a stark white, which I think is great. Better option than having it another polished hand, for instance. I think it stands out better, and it just works well with all the print work on the dial as well. So the print work, very nice and fine. I love the stark contrast between the white and the black. No color introduced. I think that works in its favor, and it's just beautifully designed. As you can see, I love a complex dial as well, with just two subdials. Obviously, this movement most likely would have the ability to have either a date or perhaps a third window subdial at 6. However, they've opted out of that for design, and I think they've made the right decision there. Really crisp design, very straightforward, and I think it just does a fantastic job in being really simple to read, but really elegant as well. And especially this print work around the outside with the minute track and also a tachymeter scale as well. It's simple, subtle, but there's still a measure of detail there which catches your eye, which is really nice. And also this the printed like train tracks around the subdials as well. Really nicely done, very fine and elegant. Excuse me. Moving on to the case then. As I mentioned before, the case isn't just a straight up slab, it's split into 3 sections. We have our highly polished bezel, brushed side of the main barrel, and then the case back edging is also polished as well. So that does split it up nicely. Moving on to the other side, we have our pushers. I like the design of a square pusher over a round pusher, a little bit different. However, there is a tiny bit of wiggle there. You wouldn't notice that if it was round because it would just spin around and round, but because it's square, we've got a tiny bit of play there. You don't notice it, but it's just worth noting. And then our push-pull crown, quite thin and elegant as well, with the Corniche C logo embossed on the end, which is nice and deep. Decent grip as well, easy to use. I mentioned the shape of the lug, so as you can see there, quite an aggressive downturn, but that ensures it fits really nicely on your wrist. Moving on to the case back. So here we have a note to say that the Heritage Chronograph is commemorating the 5th anniversary of Corniche. So 5 years they've been going. And I'm not entirely sure what the design is in regard to, but obviously we have 3 trees there on sort of like a rolling countryside, so nice design, and it's well, well manufactured as well. It's not particularly deep. It's sort of like a frosted kind of finish, and then a fully polished. Everything else is fully polished. So it looks nice, but you're not going to notice it too much, to be honest. Moving on to the strap then. I like the matte leather over a glossy kind of patent finish to it. I much prefer a matte. The alligator print is, pretty standard, nothing too exciting. It is very nice and soft, easy to wear as well, quite supple, as you can see, bending nice and easily. If I just pop it on, you can see the top bar of the deploying clasp as well. It is also polished, so as you can see, it has picked up a few minor scratches already, but the Corniche logo looks really nicely, really good in there. I really like the R on the logo, just works so nicely. So simple, but classy and elegant. So that's just something to be aware of. And it's just easy to use as well. We've got 2 buttons on either side and a nice big fat deployant sort of angle to it as well. Fits very nicely on the wrist, it's very comfortable. Okay, so let's get the macro lens on then for some closer details. Let's start off with the dial. So here we have print work, Corniche. Some more print work of our subdial here. Let's get the chronograph going. Moving over this side. Some more print work there. All the print work's super fine. Hybrid chronograph, and then looking at our hour markers, you can see there. Again, nicely finished. I like the way it's cut away around the subdials. See if we can get a shot of that depth of the subdials. You can see there it's coming in at a lower angle. And then finally our hands. So here's our white chronograph seconds hand. You can see it ticking away there at 5 ticks a second. Our lance style main hands as well, pitched. And our double baton at 12 as well. So, pretty much flawless really. And just really nicely designed and manufactured. Here's one of our little hands on the subdial as well, and you can sort of see the reflective aspect of the ceramic dial there as well. Moving on to the case then. So we have our brushed side, polished top as well, highly polished bezel, so just be careful that doesn't pick up too many scratches, which inevitably it will. One of our polished pushers there, polished end but brushed sides, and our crown, so you can see there, decent grip, and our C logo embossed on the end, nice and accurate. Flipping it over to the case back, here we have our tree, as I said before, sort of like an etched, frosted effect, and then everything else is polished as well. Nice and accurately done though. So you can see there, nice detailing on the trees, and then some blurb about the anniversary there at the bottom. Moving on to the strap, you can see our matte kind of dulled finish to it, which I prefer, and it works nicely in conjunction with the ceramic dial as well. Nice and black. And flip it over, we'll see some print work on the underside. There we have some details embossed on the end, on the bottom. And finally, if we have a look at the buckle, you can see there, picked up a few little scratches, but the logo is nice and deeply engraved on the end. You can see there. And also have a look at some of the mechanics behind the scenes. So some of the buttons there for our deployant clasp. Everything is highly polished on the clasp as well. Right, okay, so I think in terms of design, really, really beautiful watch. This is the Corniche Heritage Chronograph. is so elegant and classy. I love, love, love the reflective ceramic dial. The stark contrast between the black and the white, just the attention to detail across the entire dial is absolutely flawless, and the case is really nice as well. The size is perfect. In terms of design, they have done a fantastic job, and also, you know, construction as well. Really, really can't fault it in any way, shape or form. So €385, yes, might seem a little bit expensive for a Seiko VK64 powered chronograph. However, the attention to detail on this is pretty sensational, and you know, people absolutely love it. I wear it quite a lot, especially with suits, because it just fits so perfectly. But also it has a very slightly, you know, it's obviously very classy and elegant, but it does have a modern edge to it. I think, you know, you could wear it as an everyday wear as well if you wanted to. You can't necessarily dress it down as such to like proper casual, but you would be able to wear it to work without a shadow of a doubt. You know, as long as you're in an office environment. I wouldn't recommend wearing it if you're a mechanic, for instance. But I just think it works so nicely in so many different ways. It's beautiful design. I really love it, and it's just fantastic quality in terms of construction as well. So they've done a really great job with this, and also obviously the bracelet. Don't forget about that as well. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but you know, minimal design is their bag really, and this certainly is minimal. So if you dig this, then it's really well made, fits nicely, and obviously it's adjustable as well. So that's a nice little thing for you to be aware of there. Okay, so this was the Corniche Heritage Chronograph, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also comment your thoughts as well, guys. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.